Hey everyone, today we have a 2006 Toro Dingo TX 425 in the shop today to have both the left and right hydraulic drive motors rebuilt, replaced, repacked, however you want to call it. It is a local landscaping company's. It's my first job with them. They also need me to put a new muffler on the thing. Move this out of the way. They need me to put a new muffler on the thing. They're guys, when they use it and they're coming up to the curbs in neighborhoods, they'll smash the muffler. This is apparently the second muffler they have put on this thing, and they're not cheap. But here is the new one that I will be installing. Not a lot to see there, but this thing's only been sitting in my shop for maybe an hour. And just sitting here not running it, it is drained this much oil out on my floor. The right side's a little worse than this, but they both need to be rebuilt. It was rather difficult to find seals for this, even though parts interchanged from, I believe, a 2002 to 2010. It wasn't that they didn't make it anymore, but apparently it is such a common part to go out on these things that it's just out of stock all the time. I was able to find some, had to drive all the way across the state to get them, but you do what you gotta do. But let's see if we can get this guy fixed up. Maybe we can get some steady business coming from him. All right, here's a better view of that muffler. Had to lift the loader arms up. When you're working under something like this, I'm sure you've heard it in almost every other YouTube video. Always support the arm when you're working under something. Even something like this, not that heavy, can give you a hell of a headache if anything. But neither here nor there. You can see here that they have bashed it multiple times. The guy told me that he wants to get it ready for the spring. They're working pretty nice neighborhood, so you can't have a loud piece of equipment, I guess, best way to say, running around angering people with their morning coffee. I'm going to suggest to the customer that I build a guard to go around it. It would not be very difficult. I've got solid mounting points here and here on both sides. Just so it doesn't happen again, because these are about $300 mufflers. And from what he told me, this is the second one they have put on it. So I'm sure he'll be fine with that, but I ain't going to do anything unless I'm told. But that is one thing. The tracks are another. We might get the muffler off tonight and replace it. Quick little work. Get to the tracks, the drive motors tomorrow morning. Good morning. We're back on this. Only got to work on it for about 12-15 minutes last night. Got a call. I had to go help somebody load a wrecked truck up onto a trailer. So there was that. I got the muffler off. Coated the bolts that hold it to the shroud, penetrating oil. They've been soaking all night, so hopefully they don't bust taking them off, and hopefully I didn't just jinx myself. But we'll get that back on, and then that'll be done, and then we'll move on to pulling the hydraulic motors out. All right, it's day 2. Stayed up late last night. Got this side all back together. I had trouble with the track tensioner. This is the first time I ever worked on one of these, granted, but I had trouble being able to pull the track tensioner far enough in to get the track actually back over the sprockets. When I took it apart, I went ahead and pulled the drive sprocket off with the track. So the best way I found to get it off then is to take the front nut off right here and take the front idler off, and then you leave the back one on, and then you get it on the back and it just slides on the front. And when I took it apart on this side, I just went ahead and did that, and it made it much easier to get apart. Excuse the mess. This is probably the first time this thing has ever had any hydraulic work done to it. Probably the only hydraulic work it has had done was hydraulic fluid put in it. So, yeah. But we've got the left motor in the parts washer right now, soaking. Gonna get it cleaned up, do the same thing all over again, get it put back together, and then we will be done. I'm still going to suggest to the customer that we build a guard for this, just so in the future they don't continue to bash this muffler up. So this is my cheap little parts washer from Tractor Supply. It could be better, but it does get the job done. I bought it, originally ran that PSC 1000 in it, and about a year later it stopped cutting grease. So when I replenished it, I cheaped out and I replenished the Purple Power, and that was the worst idea I've ever had. I ran the Purple Power for maybe about 3 months. It ripped the paint out of the bottom of the tank. It seized up my motor. I have a filtration system on this one that I installed. It completely destroyed the filter, so it was just too much hassle for what it was worth. So cleaned it all out, put a new pump on it, got 10 more gallons of PSC 1000, put a new filter on it. I forget how good it cleaned, but have my own homebrew filtration system on it. Just use a bunch of cheap, free to me, brand oil filters that somebody was selling out. And that might be garbage, but they're worth something. Not like this has to be super clean. We're gonna get this motor cleaned up, pulled apart, and put back together. I found that the same thing with this one as the other one, taking the seals out, is the mesh that they use to hold sod together with. As they're running back and forth over the yards, some of that mesh gets ripped up and gets caught in here, and it winds all up on that spindle. This one was a little worse than the other one, yet the other one was leaking more. So what I reckon is this one got so packed full of mesh that it was almost acting as a seal. Alright, had to switch to the phone for this video. The camera decided it wanted to die. Got the wheel motor out. Got the seal kits. Put the wheel motor through the parts washer. I'm going to pop it apart and put it through it once again. Spray it out with brake clean. Make sure everything is nice, pretty, and clean. Check the tolerances on the shaft. Make sure it's all going to go back together and not leak when I put it back together, because I've got to warranty this thing for a year. So, got it all put back together and running. Moment of truth. Is it going to move? Let the motor fill up fluid. Get that going. Gonna run it and see if it leaks. What a mess. I need a bigger shop. Alright, it's Sunday evening. Finally got the thing put back together. Run it around for about 30-40 minutes. Does not appear to be leaking anywhere. I'm gonna have to top off the fluid. I put 1.5 gallons in it, but I still think it's gonna need a little bit more. Gonna talk to the customer again to see if he wants to go through with that muffler guard, and if he does, we'll get that done, and we're gonna get it back to him this week. Overall, it's been about an 8-hour project. If you're looking to do this for yourself, it's the first time I've ever actually worked on this model dingo. So there was a little bit of a learning curve to it. I've only worked on the newer ones. They kind of changed a little bit as they got newer. I mean, not a whole lot, but enough that it makes you kind of second guess yourself. But for the most part, it's done. I mean, it is a 14-year-old piece of equipment. It's only going to get so good. But for right now, it works. They wanted it ready for the spring season when all their business shows up. They didn't want to have the loud muffler blaring through neighborhoods early in the morning. They didn't want to be leaking oil all over nice new neighborhood streets. So, really, these are great little machines. Just testing it around my yard, I realized why people love these things so much. It's the first time I've ever actually got to use one. I mean, they've got the power of almost a small full-size skid steer, and you can put it in your garage. You can haul it in the back of a pickup truck if you got a 1-ton truck. Super mobile. They're comfortable to use. I mean, just walking with it, it seems to move at about my natural walking speed. Their geometry, I guess the lift arm geometry enables them to pick up a lot of weight for their size. The bucket's only rated for 515 pounds, but I have seen people with this model picking up 900,000 pound hay bales with it. So they can do a lot of work for their size. I mean, there are a huge amount of attachments made to run on these things. I've seen ditch diggers, I've seen stump grinders, I've seen little mini mulchers. I mean, there are tons of things you can do with these things. We're gonna get the engine cover back on it, load it on the trailer, haul it to the man. Everything that he wanted me to do is done. They've got another mini skid steer. It's a Bobcat that ended up, there's a lot of issues with it I'll probably end up working on, and they have a Bobcat T190 skid steer that the main seal for the hydraulic pump leaks like a sieve, so the engine needs to be pulled out to change I reckon the front main seal for the hydraulic pump. The only way to get to it is pull the engine out. So that will come up in a later day on a later video. I'll make a whole little mini video series about that. In the back, we've got a 1974 Proclaim excavator. That's ours, but I'll be making a series of videos about that. I mean, we got a D8006 Deutsch tractor that we're making a loader fit on it. We've got a 94 Mustang skid steer that we're putting tracks on. I've got a 84 Toyota pickup with a Mercedes diesel swap in it. It's the kind of thing I do, it's the kind of thing I enjoy. If you enjoy it, subscribe to me and we'll continue to make some more videos. Hopefully I get better with my my non-scripted talking. But this is it. I'm rambling now.